wanted to kind of carry on with the theme from the last video with the DIY stoves, and I wanted to show you the cook kit that I've been using and what about it works for me, what components I keep inside, when I use it, and then I wanted to give you a quick tutorial on how to make the stove that I use. It's real simple, and I think you'll find it an easy project to make. Alright, so the cook kit is kept in a Cuban fiber DCF stuff sack, and it's a DIY stuff sack. I have a flat bottom on it and just a draw cord closure on the top. So when we open it up here, I've got a Reflectix pot cozy, so I can hang on to it when I'm drinking coffee, or if I'm rehydrating a meal in a Ziploc bag, I can stuff it down into the Reflectix cozy while it's rehydrating, and works out pretty well. Gives me something to hang on to the bag with. I have a carbon fiber lid here, and then a small piece of a light load towel. The type of igniter that I use is it's just a little homemade deal made from an old Bic lighter, and a little ring on there to be able to hold it with one finger. This is the stove that we are going to be making today, and then I have a titanium windscreen that is cut to the exact size of what it needs to be to block wind on this particular pot. I don't really use it on any other kit, so I was able to cut it to the exact dimensions, and then I just keep a paper clip on there to keep it in place. Have some hot lips, and the pot that I use is a Toaks 550 no handle pot. So never have any issues with picking it up off the flames. It's never been an issue of it being too hot. So pot sits on top just like that. Drop that across around it, and then there's your lid, and everything's all set up and ready to go. So the main attraction here today for this video is the stove. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the scale on, and it comes in right at 5 grams. So it's a very fuel efficient little stove, and I've had a lot of luck with it. So I hope that you enjoy the little DIY tutorial here. So one more quick thing before I get going on making the stove here. Just want to put everything back into the pot and give you a total weight of everything. So there's the entire cook kit with the Cuban stuff sack on top, and all together 89 grams. Pretty happy with that. Just over 3 ounces. All right. Okay, first things first, these are the tools that you will need to make this stove. You've got a standard pair of scissors, a thumbtack or push pin, and I have a 6-inch ruler, and of course an empty Red Bull can. So it is a 8.4 ounce size. So first thing you want to do here when you're making this is make some lines on the can itself. I make the first mark at 1.5 inches, and then I usually give myself about 3/4 of an inch of space there, and then I'll make another line, and then one more line, another 1.5 inches up from that, so that you can get the entire stove made from just one can. So next thing we're going to do is just go after it with the scissors, and gonna make an incision here, and then basically just cut around the can nice and slow, but it really doesn't matter what this cut looks like. You are simply trying to remove the lower section at this point, and then we're gonna remove the upper section next, and I'm gonna just trim around this just like the other piece, and that's going to give you kind of easy access to the lines you need to follow to cut out your pieces for the stove. All right, now that that is out of the way, I am going to take these two pieces, and we're just going to trim a little more closely along the line and have a nice clean edge there when we're done. And I use a little bit more care when I'm doing this, and kind of just make sure that I'm taking my time and I don't get uneven points or anything like that. So I'm gonna just speed this thing up here and trim these 2 pieces so that we are ready to go. All right, now we have our 2 pieces, and it is time to add the bends to the inner piece so that it will open up and give you the jets that you need to get the fuel vapors as they're burning up to the bottom of the pot. And it's a very simple process. I use this little ruler to just kind of make my bends against, and I work my way around the can. So it takes a little bit of time, but really just a couple of minutes. Every few folds I'll stop and just make sure that I'm straightening it out and keeping it even. Everything's staying in line how it should be. And once I work my way all the way around here, I have some nice little lines in there, and it slides right into the lower section of the can, which is now the base of your stove. And the very last part is to add a couple of holes here. I drop down just a little less than 1/4 of an inch and poke a hole, and that'll allow any kind of pressure that builds up when the stove is burning to escape. And then I just go 180 degrees from that and poke another hole in there, and basically your stove is done. So let's get this outside and give it a test. All right, so the weather has just been crazy since last night, so had just a small window of opportunity here to get out and boil some water on one of these stoves for you. So I've got 30 milliliters of heat out of the yellow bottle, and I'm gonna go ahead and get that lit up here. And I've got, you can see how quickly that thing blossoms. It's just almost instantly. I've got 12 ounces of water in this 550 milliliter pot, and it's straight out of the fridge, so it's probably 45, 50 degrees, something like that. So I'm gonna speed things up here and get to the boil. All right, so I just want to say, certainly appreciate you watching. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the comment box below, and I'll do my best to get them answered for you. And like I said, this is a stove that's worked out really well for me over the last probably 1.5 years, and I hope it's a fun project for you, and maybe it'll be a good stove for you as well. Thanks for watching.